Well, hello, and welcome to Everyone's a Storyteller. I'm Dr. Dainty Jones. I serve as Director of Fund Development at the Great Ensemble Theater of Houston, Texas. And this channel is a fan club channel for the ensemble's Young Performers program. We have youth ages 6 to 17, and this channel focuses on helping the middle schoolers and high schoolers to be able to be exposed to different leaders in our community who can help in sharing how to use storytelling in their careers. And today, we are honored to have Mr. Bernard Johnson. All right, and so would you tell us your title, sir?
Sure. I'm the owner of the Bridge Imports, founded here in Houston, Texas.
Wonderful. And would you let us know a little something about what you do with your business um, in your present
Absolutely.
position? Thank you.
Sure. The Bridge Imports is an import-export company. And basically that means that, people and businesses are always going to trade with each other. Japan may sell us cars. We may sell them technology, computer software, things like that. So we act as conduits between various buyers and sellers worldwide. But we have a concentration right now in West Africa.
So it is wonderful and exciting. Thank you for
Mhm.
sharing that with our audience members. Okay, so
Sure.
here's a question for you as we move into this theme of storytelling. What kind of storytelling is helpful in your position, whether it's inspirational or encouraging or logical? What kind of storytelling do you find to be very helpful?
For your audience, I want to really, really emphasize the importance of economics.
Mm.
All right, this is very important, audience. We live in a society and in a system here in America and now globally, it's called capitalism. And in the capitalistic system, economics is everything. Now, here's my story. I'm a Houstonian. Back when I was in middle school and high school, my peers would go, "Oh man, stay away from economics, man. Try not to go to economics. It's hard. It's hard." Um, my peers, audience, were where they did not give me good advice. Now that I'm an adult, even after high school, I realized how important economics are and is. So here's a little story. Um, I've always been good at selling and always been good at whenever I get good, I like to give good. And those two ingredients by me being good at selling, because I really believe in what I sell. If it's good, I have a good heart and I believe in it. And so once I found out that I could make a living at that, I said, okay, let me start a company that emphasizes that. Like we import shea butter, premium shea butter from West Africa. It's a very good product across all demographics and everything, and started a company with it. Very passionate about it and going through all the logistical means of getting it here, packaging it, putting a price on it and everything like that. And everything's going good. Everything's going good. However, as the business was growing, I found out if I didn't have my financials, my accounting on point, then as you know, again, as the company is growing, numbers tell you everything. I may want to buy some more products, but if I don't have my numbers in order and have the economics in order within my company, I may be spending too much money. I'm spending money that I don't have, that I probably need to pay bills, pay lights and stuff like that. And that, and I must be honest, I was going on passion. I was going on, wow, this is great. This is great. I'm gonna keep bringing this great product back to our audience and our community. But my economics, my accounting were not um, in order. So my company took a little dip because of that, and I lost the lease on my beautiful rental spot that I had, and so I'm like, oh my goodness, what happened? And there's a principle that goes, success sometimes can be a detriment to success.
Mm,
Meaning that that's an example. I was succeeding in getting sales and everything, but since my accounting wasn't in order, I had to take a step back, go back to school, learn my accounting. I'm in school now for my MBA. And the first time I took that financial class in my MBA studies, I was like, oh my goodness, this was it. This is everything.
mhm.
So let me please advise you, run to economics. So you have an economics class, and the earlier the better. Uh, family, community, learn economics, because everything in this capitalistic system, and really, you probably already heard, life hinges on numbers. So run
Yes.
to it. Okay.
Awesome. Yes. And thank you for giving that advice to them to run to it because, yes, numbers do tell a story as well. And if we know how to interpret the story the numbers are telling, then we can be proactive. So thank you so much for sharing those nuggets. Here's our
Mhm.
next question. Will you give us an example of how you've used storytelling to turn a challenging situation into a successful testimonial in either your professional or your personal life?
Yes, I can. I'm full of stories. My experiences. I travel abroad a lot, and I love to travel. And growing up in Houston, there's an element of, let's say, discrimination. All righty. So growing up in that environment, and once I started traveling abroad and studying abroad, and here's another thing I recommend the audience: if you have a chance to study abroad, if you choose to go to college or in any vocational capacity, try to go abroad as much as you can. So I go to Ghana, West Africa a lot. And the way I got to Ghana, West Africa was through a study abroad trip at University of Houston. And once we got there, um, we had to take two classes now, so it wasn't all fun and games. And when we were there, we had to take notes of our experiences there. And they toured us around to different fabric places, different historical places, bead making places, and universities. We went to the W.B. Du Bois Center. And while we were there, we were like, oh my goodness. And when I say we, with other students and a professor, we were like, wow, we don't see a lot of poverty as what we were told or saw on television or certain media and everything. Actually, it was quite different. We saw a lot of riches in regard to uh, trade. We saw the people, how they made the fabric, how they made the beads, how they made the clothing, how and what the clothing and fabric meant. And we understood that they had been doing this for centuries, and
Mhm.
how people from around the world would trade, would go to Africa, West Africa, and seek these things. So that really intrigued me. All of that truth and education really intrigued me, and I became enlightened behind it. So came back to the United States and was telling everybody, go tell it on the mountain, and that's what I did. So I went back and forth on my own quite a bit, maybe two or three times a year. And I had a guide there, good guide. He would help me out and do a lot of good things and kind of be a good guide for me. When we fly into Ghana, we fly into Accra, and that's the capital city of Ghana, and that's in the southern part. But they were telling me, the merchants there in the market in Accra, were telling me a lot of the things came from the north, the northern part of Ghana, and I should visit there, and everything. So one year I had a chance to take a flight up to the northern part of Ghana, and then arrived Thursday evening. And the next morning I walked out into the marketplace there up in Tamale, Ghana, and then something within me said, "Do you know where you are?" And those are rhetorical questions that I say the universe, God, or ancestors, or just intuition ask me. And I'm like, oh, I'm in the north. I'm in the northern part of Ghana, where everybody told me that a lot of crafts originated from for centuries. And the crafts that I saw in Accra in the southern part of Ghana originates from. And then I was like, wow, I'm here. I'm here in the central part of the world where crafts and goods originated from. I mean, like in the 900s. And I was like, wow, this is a privilege. And then I said, this is pretty cool. And then another inner voice within me says, you're in a place where not many people get to go. You're in a place of history. Now act like it. And what I
Mm.
mean by that, that gave me a sense of value, a sense of purpose, a sense of duty to be a bridge, to be a conduit of education of truth. And even as such a platform as this, it's amazing. And I'm glad that you invited me to share these stories with you. So I hope I wasn't too long in that, but I think it's very, very important to know educational uh, value of stories and experiences.
Yes, yes, indeed. Oh, how exciting to hear about that moment that you experienced. And hopefully, any of our youth will take up that baton and pass it on. So, for sharing that light.
Thank
What
you.
techniques do
Welcome.
you use? You're so welcome. Next question. What techniques do you use to ensure the stories that you tell resonate with your target audience?
Mm. Listening. One thing I've learned in life is to listen, and not so much listen to respond per se, or listen to prove that I'm wrong, but listening as a person in a relationship that I'm speaking with. So when I listen to people and really understand what they're saying, then I can have it resonate within certain aspects of my life and kind of relate to what they're saying and then give my true opinion and thoughts on it. So uh, the technique of listening.
That is awesome. Yes. And we speak to the students when they're learning to be on stage with others, how important listening is. And that translates to other areas or transfers to other areas of their life. So thank you for mentioning the importance of listening and active listening as
And
well.
and Doctor, I want to mention that. Think about it. Here's another thing: when people see that you are truly listening to them, then they
Yes.
appreciate that. Think about it. So
Yes, indeed.
um, it's real important to listen, and that people know that you are listening to them. And the way that they know you're
Yes.
listening to them is that you recite what they said, or you relate to something they said, and that goes a long way. And that's interactive communication with whoever
Yes, it is.
you are dialoguing with.
Yes, that is awesome. Yes. To know how to use interactive listening, or what some educators called active listening, um, even in terms of keeping our families strong as well. So start at the central unit and then move out to make sure we are listening carefully so that we are interpreting clearly when
Mhm.
others are speaking to us. So thank you
Mhm.
for mentioning the importance of listening, sir. That's awesome.
Sure, you're welcome.
All right. I'm enjoying this interview, but I bet you can tell. All right, sir. So our next question is, what impact have you seen storytelling have on your audience's engagement and retention of material? So
That's
looking
a
for
very good
impact.
question. That's a very good question. By me going abroad, and when customers, sometimes when I had my store in the Shape Community Center, customers would come in, and I would share with them the truth and the history of some of the items that they would buy, and I could see it in their eyes, and they would say, "Wow, this is very good." They feel cheer bumps, you know, by them understanding truth and then being in an atmosphere in the store of these products. They can see it, they can feel the energy, and along with my experience and what the people who made these things tell me, and I translate that to my audience, and they they come back, they tell their friends, and then they visit. There are so many people because of that now go back and forth to Ghana, West Africa, and I have the privilege of facilitating those tours or setting them up, being a bridge so that they can go. So I'm just a bridge to just translate and relate to what I've been taught and what I've experienced.
Yes. That that is exciting. And yes, I can see you're acting as a bridge is a way to hold on to your audience and to keep them coming back.
Yes.
So it's like the travel is a physical, literal bridge. But what you're doing is also a communicative bridge. It's even symbolic. So that's great. Thank you for that response.
Hmm.
Now, you had mentioned truth, and this next question deals with that as well. It reads, what ethical considerations should one keep in mind when using storytelling in one's career?
You already said it, truth.
Yes,
Just
yes,
just and I do my best. I really do. At this stage of my life, I've realized that integrity, and I don't mean perfection, um,
right.
although that we do evolve to perfection, but just being honest, and we need that in this climate right now. And I'm not trying to
Yeah,
be Mr. Goody Two Shoe or anything, or trying to act like I'm perfect, but at this phase of my life, just just be honest and do my best not to embellish things. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this interview, I'm real good at selling. But the reason why I'm good at selling is because I care. And so we live in a society where there's a lot of things that are skeptical, and I have to understand that and create a balance of passion and a balance of of integrity, of being honest with my storytelling, and then allowing the universe and allowing experience. I always say life always validates truth. So even if I
Yes.
say something now and if I have a disposition of duty to give you uh, real items, even if there is a level of suspicion initially, life always validates truth.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for that. Um, I I'm recalling you're talking about the reason that you sell, and how it's actually helping others. I was
Mhm.
listening to another leader. His name is Dr. Myron Golden, and he says he seldom will, when he's selling products, or services, he seldom persuades about the product. He likes to find the pain point, or pain points of the audience members, and then simply talk to them about how he's helping from that standpoint. Whether it is they're not finding enough of something, and then he can say, "You have it." But he says he doesn't have to do, if he's focused on the audience, he doesn't have to do hard sells. And I really
Mhm.
respect that. He also brought in talking about um, being ethical and being able to see, even with your body language, not just your words, that you're telling
Mhm.
the truth about what you have to offer. And so then people will come back. They'll come back once they see the product is just right for them, and the person who is offering it to them is showing respect and showing honesty. So
Yeah.
yes, you're speaking the way other leaders are speaking.
Let,
All
may I
right, and
share
here's the
another quick story with you that
yeah.
speaks to that? I'll make it brief.
uh,
All right. During my
yes.
first trip, the study abroad trip to Ghana, with the study abroad students, we had a tour guide, wise guy. What he would do, he didn't speak a lot, but when he spoke uh, profound things, and not like a Yoda or anything, like not very deep, but he would set something up, such as like, you know, here in this area, for example, goats at times that live in a certain community, they would act like they own the roads and own that area. And so just one example. So we're on the tour bus and we are traveling down this road, and the driver's, he's pretty progressive in his driving, if you know what I mean. And then up ahead, first of all, the tour guide said that sometimes goats, they would stand in the middle of the street and would not move. You have to go around them. So he told us this, and then about 15 minutes later or so, we're going down this road, this highway, and that scenario happened. We saw the goats ahead in the middle of the road, and the driver was blowing his horn as we were approaching them, but the goats didn't move. So, and we were on a highway now. Well, it was a two-lane highway, but we're going down the road. So the driver had to stop uh, before he got to the goats. And when the goats finally saw that the driver stopped, then they decided to move. So we all just looked at each other, and we're like, wow. So my point is, our tour guide, he laid the foundation with his experience, what he
Yeah.
knew, and then he allowed the events to validate those that experience. And that
Yes.
was over 2014. That was over 10 years ago, and it still resonates within me. And I practice that same thing when I'm facilitating tours there. I just allow my experience, uh, and then allow life to validate that experience. And that really resonates in storytelling. And then the interconnection between human beings.
Yes. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I don't think I'll ever look at goats the same way again from
It was
hearing
as
that
if
knowledge.
okay, this is our village, this is our area, so you need to slow your roll. Um, okay, and it was amazing, really, and that was over 10 years ago, and
Yes.
still, I just came back from Ghana maybe about 2 weeks ago, and same thing. Uh, they they act that way. Many
They
stories.
act that way.
Yes,
Yes. Well, it is excellent that the tour guide shared and then showed. And so that's wonderful. That I'm glad that he did that so that you all would not be alarmed. Well, I have one more question for you. I've
sure.
been enjoying hearing the encouragement that you've been sharing with our youth. So here's our last question. Do you have any news that you'd like to share with our audience members?
Uh, I wouldn't say it's news, but it could be a form of news. If I could borrow the words of Robert F. Smith, and one thing he says, you are enough, meaning
Mm,
that you are enough to do what you're supposed to do as a human being in this world. You are enough. So it's not news in a sense that it's new, but it's news in a sense of validating who and what you are. And also with that, develop your mind. The more that your mind is developed, the mind is almost like a muscle. The more you develop that muscle called the mind through reading, through listening, through studying, through challenging, the better you will be able to navigate through this global system. So, as I mentioned, it's not news, but it is news. And that's part of my passion and my duty to give back and to share with you all, to develop that mind, develop that sense of you are enough.
oh, what a wonderful way to end today's interview by your sharing with each audience member that he or she is enough. And so I'd like to end it in that way because I usually remind audience members that each story is important, and so they have a right to share it. So thank you again, Mr. Johnson. Thank you so much for taking time for this interview today with Everyone's a Storyteller. Again, I'm Dr. Dainty Jones, Director of Fund Development at the Ensemble Theater, and this is our fan club channel for the Young Performers Program, Everyone's a Storyteller. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.